Welcome back to the Hockey Show. Today I'm once again throwing my hat into the ring and I'm going to take claim and make predictions about where each division's going to line up and eventually predict the next Stanley Cup champion. Now this week we've got, Today we've got the Atlantic Division, a division that is probably the best division in the whole league, especially this season. I think this season a few of the teams, a couple of them at least, got significantly better than their terrible last seasons, and they already had the powerhouses of the league. So this division's the best one out of all of them. Each of these teams, at least the top six, could probably make it into a playoff spot in every other one, but this division's so stacked that it's going to be kind of sucky for some of the teams that don't get to make it in. So let's jump right into it. Number 8. Who do we have at number 8? We've got the... There we go. Oh, shoot. Everything's falling apart. Oh, boy. Let's hold on. And ta-da! The Buffalo Sabres. Now, this is one of the teams that hasn't upgraded or they've even kind of gotten worse, trading away Jack Eichel, which I guess you could say is a good or a bad thing, bringing in Alex Tuch. But this team hasn't brought in anyone to change up their lines, you know? They haven't done anything to improve, and I would like to think about this team getting better, because there's no way a team can be last in division 2 years in a row. I mean, but we're talking about the Buffalo Sabres here, the team that's been known to just be the absolute worst every single year. They're the longest drought, I think, ever of missing the playoffs. So here they are at number 8, the Sabres. I mean, there's not much I can really say about them that hasn't already been said all the time about them. I mean, they've already gotten rid of Reinhart. They got rid of Reinhart, obviously Eichel. They traded away Ristolainen, which, I mean, I guess is kind of a good thing, but at the same time, I mean, he is still better than some people on their defense. So the Buffalo Sabres, now there's not really a lot for me to say about them because there's already so much that can already be said about how bad the Sabres are. The reason I put them at 8 is because they didn't do anything to get better, and just by looking at their team on paper, there's nothing there of substance to really think that they're going to elevate above that level, especially when they've got at number 7, oh shoot, here, there we go. Oh, whatever. The Montreal Canadiens. Now, the Canadiens, in my mind, I think should get better. I don't like where I put them, to be honest. Stupid paper's going to annoy me. I don't like where I put them, to be honest. I think that the Canadiens will be better than last year. But the thing is that I don't put a lot of stock into most of their team. I like the idea of Urage and Doc. Like, I love who they've brought in, and I think what they've brought into the lineup can really shape this team. The only thing that keeps them at 7 is that the other teams above them have those talent already, and they've already grown to that point, and they've added stuff to make that team better. This team has brought in Doc and Slavkovsky through the draft. I like those moves, but those guys got to grow. Doc isn't like that pure second-line center, maybe first-line power forward guy. Slavkovsky, I think, is going to make an impact, but not enough of one that is going to overcome who is at number 6. And I think all the teams above them is how I was saying about how I think this is the best division in the league, is all the teams above them are just so much, just already better than what they've got. And also, goaltending-wise, Carey Price didn't play all last year. I think he played a couple games. I feel like defense, goaltending, and offense, it's not all there yet, but they're on the way up. I think this is going to be their final down year, and I think next year those guys will produce, and I think someone like Cole Caulfield will finally hit his form. Slavkovsky next year will probably hit his true form, and I think it'll really come together. But I think they just got to wait that 1 year, and I just think the team above them at number 6, the Ottawa the Ottawa Senators. Now, the Senators, in my mind, get out of here, I like the additions they added, especially Alex DeBrincat. DeBrincat is such a superstar player, and I don't understand why. I mean, no one does. No one understands why they did it. I think, personally, that the Senators have some sort of blackmail on the Blackhawks GM or somebody in their ranks, because there's no reason that trade happened. Alex DeBrincat already with Brady, Tkachuk, Stützle. I mean, they've also got so much young forwards like Formenton, and I just can't think of them all right now. And then I think their defense needs a lot of help. I'm not really don't put a lot of stock in someone like Shabbat. I think he would be great, but he's not really a offensive production machine. He's got like the defensive side of really good defensemen, but he's got no offensive production. So defense, I would like a lot of help there. I said that in that video. I think the Senators, if they could get some things together, or someone like Brandstrom can really start going and produce some offense, I think that could help their situation there. But for me, the Senators just aren't going to be that. I don't think they're going to be potent enough to be into a playoff spot. I think they're going to be right outside of it, and they're going to have good building blocks to go next season. But also some goalies like Cam Talbot, I don't really know if he's going to be that type of goaltender that is going to keep this team in a playoff spot, because he was playing behind one of the best defensive, not offensive defensemen, defensive units of hockey on the Wild, and he played great there, so I kind of worry about what he could do with the Senators. So, but I think what pushes if they were in the Pacific Division, I feel like they could maybe make it in, but the Senators aren't as good as number 5, the Detroit Red Wings. Now, the Red Wings, to me, I think had the best offseason out of any team. The Red Wings did absolutely spectacular this offseason. They bring in Kubalik and David Perron. Also, they get Ville Husso, a hopeful, potentially great goaltender who's young and has a lot to keep going. This team has added so much. They added the players that they needed to add to push them over that edge, to bring them to to the point where they can start trying to win games, especially with Perron and Kubalik. And then they already had Bertuzzi and Larkin. And now they've got their young guys coming up. You got Zadina, you Raymond. You have the guys in the back. I mean, Moritz Seider is an absolute superstar. You've got Evanson, I think, pretty sure. You've also got Marco Caspero. I think he wouldn't play this year, but I think in the future years. But I think this team, just overall, what they've brought in, and the thing is that all of their players are young and still growing, that these additions, along with those guys stepping up their game a little bit, this team, I think the Red Wings could make it up here. Is just, of course, the 4 teams left are like probably the 4. All 4 teams are in the top, like, maybe 5 of the league. Like, these are the 4 best teams in the league, probably, for the most part. And we already know who they are. But where do they come in? Well, you already kind of got spoiled, because at number 4, we've got... Oh, shoot. No. Oh, whatever. So, we've got the Toronto Maple Leafs making it in at the wild card spot. Now, for me, the Maple Leafs... Oh, my God. Whatever. To me, the Maple Leafs is that they're a team that they lost a key component this offseason. They lost Jack Campbell in net. The goaltender, I don't want to say their savior, because obviously he had a tough time in net. But for me, I think their goaltending situation going into this year is a good gamble. I think it's a cool idea to put Samsonov and Murray in net. Murray showing that he does have that potential. He can play really well. And then Samsonov, a guy who's young and can grow, and he has shown that he can be good, but he's not really proven that he's a solid goaltender. So I like the gamble. I like the risk. I like the idea of what Dubas has done with their goaltending. But for me, it's also their defense and offense. Defensively, I think they have an okay unit on paper, but it's just, I mean, someone like Giordano and Muzzin, like, I don't really think they're going to be as stellar. I think those type of guys could, like, fall off and not be as useful as they could be offensively. I mean, you've got the 4, you've got Marner, Tavares, Matthews, and Nylander. But after that, I mean, once again, it's another situation where it's like, well, there's not a lot of extra packing in the back like the Oilers have done. The Oilers have done great where they have those guys that they get paid a lot of money, but then they've also been able to put guys around them. And for me, the Maple Leafs just haven't been able to add in that depth that they really need. So that's why I put them there, and I think they're edged out by the fact that a couple returning players of the already revealed stupid Boston Bruins at number... Oh my god, everything's just falling apart. Number 3, the Boston Bruins. Now, obviously, Krejci and Bergeron announced coming back. Now, I know those guys aren't going to be their best selves. They're old. Krejci's coming back from playing in Europe. I mean, they're not going to be, superstar players, but those are solid guys to put all the way down the middle. Now they've got Coyle, Bergeron, and Krejci in the middle. Those are 3 solid centers to put in a lineup in those 3 lines. The Bruins are going to make it into that spot, and I think with additions like Lindholm, I think is a great move for them to put on to fill out their defense. And offensively, I mean, they've got guys all the way to third line with like Craig Smith. Like, they've got Pasternak and Marchand now keeping around Bergeron. You've got Taylor Hall, a guy that won the Hart Trophy a few years ago. Like, this team has everything going. In goaltending, they've got 2 young, amazing goaltenders in Swayman and Olmark, which I think they're going to have to eventually make a decision on which one they want to keep. But until then, they've got 2 amazing goaltenders in net. And they have some amazing offense and defense. Now, defense, I would like a little bit more zing, a little sazzle to their defense. But I think it's good enough to get them over the line, especially with like a Charlie McAvoy. But offensively, they're stacked. If goaltending, they've got 2 solid choices. And defensively, they're pretty, they are good. So, for me, the Bruins are all around just solid. And I don't think anything's going to really knock them out of a playoff spot at least. I think they at least get a playoff spot regardless of what happens. So, but edging them out is at number 2, the already spoiled Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, for me, I think this is going to be a year where the Lightning kind of bounce back into their potential President's Trophy form. I think... Now, I don't know if Nikita Kucherov, like the injuries that he gets and stuff are true or whatnot, but it is kind of suspicious how it's happened each year, and I think this might be the year after last season, finally losing the Stanley Cup. They might be like, hey, we're going back into we're the best mode. We got to prove something. So, I mean, he had... What was it? 69 points in 48 games or something. I mean, that's incredible. Imagine if he plays the entire season. He's going to get 130 points if he matched that up or whatever. Like, this team, to me, with additions like keeping around Cirelli, Nick Paul, I think these guys and Chernak growing and Ross Colton, this team is just so stacked, and I feel like they're somehow underrated somehow, even though they've won the Stanley Cup back-to-back, gone to the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row, and won the President's Trophy, tying the record for the best team ever. Now, they lose Andre Palat, but they also keep around Nick Paul, and I think this team could make a couple more moves to really bolster where they are. I mean, when you got the best goaltender in that, you've got arguably the best defenseman, you've got one of the best players. I mean, you've got Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, Steven Stamkos. Like, this team is just so overall stacked that, I mean, we know they're going to make it to a playoff spot. And I think this team is so stacked that even, like they win so many games without even potentially their best player in Kucherov. You see what I'm saying? This team is so good that they don't even need their best player to win them games. So the Lightning going to make it to the playoff spot. They could potentially take the first spot, but I think just the sheer fact that they haven't really lost anybody, and they lost Mackenzie Weegar, but they can get another defenseman. Weegar's great and all, but I think with Matthew Tkachuk, I think that the Florida Panthers are going to retain their number 1 spot. They were so offensively great last year. This is the best offensive team, I think, in history. I mean, all the way through the lineup. And now in the offseason, you have guys breaking out like Carter Verhaeghe. This team, all the way through, just has so many good players. And now they add Tkachuk. They have Matthew Tkachuk with Barkov and Reinhart. I mean, this team is so good. Offensively, no one matches them. No one matches them other than maybe the Colorado Avalanche on their best day. Other than that, this team is so good offensively. Now you can say like defensively, maybe they're kind of lacking. Their defense to me is pretty solid. I mean, you got Ekblad out there who finally kind of got into his offensive form. I mean, you've got Ekblad, you've got whoever. I can't think of anyone right now. I know what I'm talking about. And then goaltending wise, you've got Bobrovsky, but you've also got a young, amazing goaltender in Spencer Knight. I mean, what happens if somehow they could trade away like Bobrovsky's contract to another team, which would be so hard to do? But let's just hypothetically say they somehow get it out and they open up some cap. I mean, they'd have to retain some money probably, but they open up some cap space and they bring in a defenseman to fill in another to bring in a defenseman to really solidify their defensive core. And I think this team has got the Stanley Cup written all over them. I mean, first place spot, I think they go at least in the top 2 in this division. I think they probably win the conference again because this team is just so good overall. And I think the Lightning just happen to be their poison. I think in the playoffs, the Lightning are the one team that can probably knock them out. I really want to see what this team can do against other teams. And I think additions with Tkachuk, I think is going to bring them a lot more grit and grind and aggressiveness to their lineup for the playoffs. That's exactly what they need. Huberdeau's great, but I feel like he's not like the grinded out player. I think Matthew Tkachuk is that type of guy, and I think he's the perfect addition to the Florida Panthers to really make them a playoff contender. But that's really all I think about this. That means that the Florida Panthers would have to maybe play either the Maple Leafs, the Red Wings could maybe squeak in that playoff spot. On my other video, I said that potentially that could be the Blue Jackets. So it kind of depends, but the Panthers could be playing one of those teams. And then the Lightning versus the Bruins, which would be a great series to watch. So I hope you enjoy this. I know that you're going to disagree with me. Leave it down below, and please pick up your free subscription down below. It's perfectly free. It's the red subscribe button. Just hit it, just click it, and then go away. You know, you don't even have to watch another video. Actually, please do. Leave a like. Nah, just like you can go down below to the comment section and tell me how wrong I am and tell me exactly how you would organize this. And I guess until next time, I've been the ever dapperly dressed for these videos for some reason, and Owen. And until next time, this has been the O Hockey Show. Too sweet, and ta-ta for now.